Okay, good evening, everyone. Yeah, I was catching up with one or two of you, and I know there has been a series of interviews, hundreds of applications, that you've done, and it's almost feeling like, it's tough. Let's just put it that way. And you know me, I'll never sugarcoat anything because the way that things used to be several years ago has changed considerably. And that's why it's important that as you're experiencing change, you have to be ready to be agile and change as well. But again, knowing how to change, what to change to, and what do you call it, amendments that you might need to, or do you need to pivot? Do you need to re-strategize? All of those things are things that you would have to sit back and look at. But one thing you mustn't do is give up. That is just establishing that fact. So, from different conversations, and also even I've been experiencing back in the days when before you finish the boot camp, people are already having interviews, people are getting calls, people are getting jobs. It's just not that simple anymore. But so today we're not talking, this is not a CV clinic, it's not our job search conversations that we have, but I'm just wanting to show you what else is possible because this is a new year, this is 2026, and things will not be what you've been used to before, especially the job market and all of that. But what can you do whilst you are applying for jobs? I will never tell you to stop applying. You keep going. You just need to keep re-strategizing and seeing what you can make in terms of amendments and upskilling. Another thing I must say is you don't stop. You have to keep learning new things. You can't just say, "Oh, yes, I did this boot camp. I met somebody at an event yesterday, and the person said they did a boot camp 3 years ago and has not learned anything new, has not done anything, and all of that." You really cannot even afford to do that. I can't tell you the new skills I have picked up in the past 3 or 4 months, things that I didn't have before, I didn't know before. So, regardless of the number of years of experience that you have, it's lifelong learning. You have to keep adding to yourself. You have to keep so that you can remain relevant. But for the purpose of today, I'll go straight in and share my slides shortly. I'm just saying, okay, whilst you're applying, what else can you do? How can you even leverage the skills that you have, the experience that you have, something that you're good at that will help you, to earn something whilst you're applying? And that's what I want to show you because right now, there are multiple streams of income that I personally am actually focusing on. Some of you will see some things online, some things are behind the scenes, but you cannot rely anymore on just one 9 to 5 job, one income stream. It's just not sustainable. The economy is even not friendly. So you can't sit down and say, well, I've sent 200 applications and I'm just waiting. It's not going to work that way. So what I want to show you, as I was thinking, I thought, okay, what can we even do to help? I mean, it was for the Sterling Academy, but I think we opened it up a little bit. So there might be a few people who are not from Sterling on this call because I know that people are struggling. So today I want to show you that the skills that you have picked up over time from a bootcamp that you've attended, whether business analysis, project management, whatever skills that you have, you can actually monetize the skills. You can be a freelancer. The good thing about this is you earn once you're fully set up, you'll be earning something, but also you are developing additional skills and experience, which will then go on your CV as because again, some people might say, oh, maybe because I don't have 5 years, 10 years experience. Let me just put it to you that people who have 10, 15, 20 years are still experiencing the pinch. So it's not that. But in this case, I'm saying as a freelancer, there are several portals, there's several sites that you can leverage and you can start putting yourself out earning and gaining additional experience, which then goes on your CV as you're doing that. And that's another opportunity for you to even be an entrepreneur. So some of you are already entrepreneurial, and if you have, certain things that you're good at, a hobby, something that you have been doing for years that you've not really sat down to think about it being anything, I also want to show you that you can monetize that. And so we're going to look at a few sites, freelance sites. There are several. And one of the things that really made me decide to do this is the fact that as a business owner, someone who is growing a small business that doesn't have big budget, I have been on several freelance sites to hire. Sometimes some of you have actually been part of these projects. The CRM Zoho setup, when we had Salesforce setup, all of that, it was from these freelance, what do you call them, sites. So people are, advertising their services. And I know that I'm not the only one. I speak with people, and several people go onto this freelance site. So I want to show you some of them. We don't have time for everything, but at least to see, tell you what is, show you the potential that you can, take advantage of. And if you are serious, and again, you guys know I would always tell you it's not for someone who wants to sit on it, it's for someone who wants to take action. And if you're serious and you want to get out there, I can bet you will be smiling. So start sharing my slide. But as I'm pulling up my slides, I want you to put in the chat, what are you hoping to get from this call today? Now, a lot of things that why people maybe struggle is sometimes their mindset. So again, sometimes it might just be, okay, you need to have a mindset shift. Why are you feeling stuck or whatnot? So again, I'm going to be asking you things just because I want you to begin to have a mindset shift and have a light bulb moment. It's not a coaching call that's going to go on for 3 hours. It's an hour and a bit max, not more than 1.5 hours because I have another call. But type in the chat, why are you here? What are you hoping to get? And I can tell you when you are articulating what you're thinking, you will find out that, okay, yeah, Tony, brilliant. So, okay, yeah, someone's, yeah, put it in because as you're putting it out, you're saying it, and there is something to it. When you put something out, you write it, you say it. Just keep putting it out. Okay, so just keep putting it in the chat. I'll come to it now. I can't as Eric, this is not for those kind of calls because the details it will have to be something that we'll be dealing with. But HMRC, I think there's a point, there's a slide that kind of relates to that, but let's come to it that. Yeah, so please, I don't want people who are here to lurk, but I want people who are here because they mean business, right? Because this is my Sunday, I could have been doing something else. So if you're not going to interact, please do not, just don't stay on. I need people who are serious. So put it in the chat, why are you here? What are you hoping to get out of this call? I will start sharing now. Put it in the chat for me. We'll come to it. Eric, I see your point, but don't worry, it's going to be covered. Okay, let's put this away. Okay. Right. Okay, so today, like I said at the beginning, I want to show you that while you're waiting to get that yes, which you will definitely get that yes if you carry on and you're doing all the right things that you need to do. It will come. It might take time, and I know that some of you have been applying and doing several applications, but one thing you mustn't do is give up. So while you're waiting for that yes, what can you do? The focus here is to show you the potential that you have from the skills that you've gained over time, whether as a business analyst or a project manager. So you're not only going to know how to start earning, But then the other side is you will then start gaining additional experience because by the time you get your first two clients, three clients, you are, working and you are developing that skill, that experience, which then goes on your CV and it helps you to boost your portfolio and your experience, which again will go on that CV and you can start applying, or update your CV with this additional experience. And you might actually end up enjoying this freelancing so much that it gives you flexibility. A lot of us now are parents and you want to do something that is flexible. So it might be something that gives you flexibility and voila, it might just be a business opportunity which you want to follow and you just go ahead without even, carrying on to search for a role. But so that's kind of what it is. It is possible to earn between 500 to 2,000. I know one of the freelancers I have brought on into Sterling as a bootcamp, I've paid that person over 2K across different projects that they've worked for us. So that's to tell you the potential there. Today, I'm also going to look at six high demand services that apply to you, those of you who are on this call, how to find these clients on the freelance platforms, and we'll see some examples really that apply. So we will see those. I mean, after a while, I'll pause and then we'll go do a little bit of practical demonstration. Okay. So I'm not going to do that. I know that the reality is that after the boot camp, a lot of you may have even gone over 100 applications and you're feeling stuck, not happy, disappointed, and all of that. And you have had rejections. Sorry, unfortunately, maybe they say things like, oh, we've gone with someone else that had more experience and all of that. Some are actually ghosting you. Some is just automated, what do you call it, rejections that you get. And your skills are just there. Some of you have not done any additional upskilling because you're just been spending time trying to apply for these roles and just waiting. So the first one, and now I'm telling you that this is not an exhaustive list, but this was just something I put together purely from knowing the sort of things you guys have worked on, maybe even using the Sterling Bootcamp as an example, and kind of freelancers that I personally have looked for. And I'm telling you, you can't go on a freelance platform and be expecting pro bono or free. So it is paid. Anybody who seeks your service will pay you. So you are earning and also getting additional experience and building your confidence, because sometimes it might just be a case of confidence, not because you don't know how to do it, but by the time you've worked with maybe a small business, a micro entrepreneur, and you've been able to confidently or successfully delivered, that will give you a boost, and therefore that could also affect how confident you come across during interviews. There is a potential, right, under the CRM setup. Now, I'm not saying that you can't, some of these things will not require maybe additional brushing up of your skills here and there, learning additional tools just to boost that portfolio. So just know that that's something that I'm going to tell you because you want to be credible, you want to be someone that is, regarded as a serious business, as it were. So CRM setup is one. We've used that. I'm sure some of you can relate. Zoho setup, we had Salesforce setup. All of that was from these freelance sites, which I will show you shortly. And you can get between 300 to 450 per project. In fact, we got some that were charging us more than that. But as a base, that is possible. Who are the people that need this sort of things? I already mentioned small businesses, that have CRMs. And for us then, I think it was when we just got Zoho and we couldn't afford maybe a Zoho expert in-house. And what did we do? You go to this freelance platforms, because you get people who are ready to just do something within a short period, get some part of that setup done for you, and you pay them and they move on, rather than you keeping them on your payroll. And because we couldn't afford that, and there are several businesses, several startups, several small businesses that are in that category that will go onto these freelance sites to look for freelancers, right? So for this one, let's say an average of 8 hours of work. Most times is more. If you, I don't want to mention their names, but we've worked with a lot of them, and most times, I mean, they've been over 8 hours. So imagine, do the maths, calculate that. And I put this one there because this is true. And eventually, we paid more than this from Upwork, which I will show you how to get onto now. So the action step here, if this is something that you might want to look at, maybe from past bootcamp, past projects that you've CRM set up, or a CRM project was something that you really enjoyed, and you feel like as a business analyst or a project manager, you got some really solid skills which you can now leverage, and you just clean up. So, for example, let's say the Zoho CRM project, business analyst, what you were doing, you were the one documenting requirements, you engaged the developer, and all of those things that you did, and you didn't actually set up, but you saw the back end of these platform, this software, as it were. So probably, maybe this is something that you want to niche, because another thing is you might decide that, oh, I want a niche area to focus on as a freelancer. Maybe I don't want to do everything, right? So you can then begin to build on the skill that you picked up on that project that you did before during that bootcamp, and then the additional. So this is not a get rich, what do you call it? Get rich quick scheme. It still requires work, right? But it is something that will pay you in the long run. Apart from the additional experience that you will get, but you would also start earning once you are able to do this well and do it seriously. And I'm not joking about that. So that is one of them that you could look at. The second one is documentation of SOPs. SOPs are just standard operating procedures. So just being able to sit down and document for businesses. A lot of times, I'm telling you, there was a time I was looking for someone to come in and document, just develop maybe about 5 SOPs for us. I think that we wanted things around our onboarding process and a few policies that we had, and the way that we do things. I went onto those sites. I went there. Even the training material, then I needed someone to kind of just put together an SOP, put together training material. It is this portal, is this sites, these freelance sites that I went on initially. So that is why it was more like a light bulb moment to say, wow, these is something that I have used several years of running this business, and I'm not the only one. I've spoken with businesses where they are like, "Oh, where can you find this? Where can you find that?" So imagine if you guys are on there and you have set up, you've got this skill, you've got this experience that and then you get the additional, bits that you need to kind of maybe just what you call it now, to update what you had already. So it's not, oh, what I did again is enough. It's a good starting point, but the point here is you will need to do additional work for you to come across as credible, for someone to be able to say, okay, send me a proposal, or send me your quotes, because that's how it really happens. And I'll tell you guys that I've been at this point before where I'm like, okay, what have you done before? Send me a link, send me your portfolio. I look at it. All they're doing is they're sending screenshot of things. They are sending links to maybe something they have done before. And I'm looking at them, I'm like, okay, okay, okay. Let's talk money. So why not? Why not you? SOP documentation, those of you who are on the PM path, you have done a lot of documentation even while on the boot camp, whether it is writing project, what do you call it, project charter, project initiation docs, as a pack, putting all of that together. All of those things people will pay for. Small businesses that do not have the capacity, they don't have the budget to hire someone to be on their payroll to do that. They might just get, and this is something that I did when I started out as business. I wanted, be someone to write business plans for me. I wanted a lot of these things, and I couldn't pay someone full time. So I thought, okay, let me get someone that can do this for me within a number of hours, and we talk. Okay, negotiate. How much would you require? We pay, the person does it, delivers it, and off they go. So imagine you have several clients that you've done that for before. Start doing the maths. Start doing the maths. So SOP documentation is another one. Businesses that need their processes. So processes that you have, that they want to document, for maybe training, for example. is something that, okay, yes, you just get someone, the person tells you, oh, I can deliver this in 3 to 5 days, or some, in fact, some cases I've had, and they're like, oh, I need it urgently. And they say, oh, for the urgent delivery, I will charge you more. And because I needed it, I'm like, okay, okay, get on with it. Right? So these are not, there is nothing that you guys cannot do once you put your mind to it and leverage all that you have picked up from that bootcamp, whether as a project manager or as a business analyst. So this is one. Imagine you do 5 SOPs, at £400, do the maths. Or even if you decide that, okay, maybe because you're just starting out, you make sure that your pricing, again, we'll talk about how to do that pricing, is competitive so that you get more people. And it probably because you want to start building that portfolio, you just make your price not too high, and therefore people will now, because for me, I'm going to look at the one that is of business value. I'm not going to look at, because again, on these portals, on these platforms, you see people who are charging £250 an hour, £400 an hour, probably because of how long they have been on that platform, a level of experience, a number of projects they have done. But as a starting point, you can just, mark yourself average. Don't sell yourself too short, because you will not be taking that seriously. But again, it is possible. Business case, business analyst, you guys have done business case, you've written business cases before, you know the elements of it. There is even AI now. Now it's even a lot easier. In a matter of hours, a matter of minutes, actually, you'll be able to develop these documents and give it, make it look professional, do the little research. All of you have picked up, you know how to research as business analysts or as project managers. So you know how to look. When we talk about options analysis, you know how to carry out feasibility studies. There are small businesses looking for that. And by the time you have done a few clients, they know that, this person, there are a few people that I have used on Upwork, on Fiverr, that I keep going back to. So by the time you have delivered good job, you will just maybe end up having some particular customers who keep coming to you, and they might even refer you, and that's you in business, and that's you actually starting doing that. That's your business, right? And then as you're doing these things, you get more ideas. It begins, your mind begins to expand, and you see what possibilities that there exist, and you keep building your portfolio while still applying for jobs. So again, what I'm saying is, I'm not telling you to pack it up, no, because I still want you guys to get the jobs. I'm not saying pack it up, but I'm saying you can run both concurrently. It's just being strategic and, planning properly, and say, okay, let's say I do my job application per week. I don't know, maybe I don't know how many hours, and then the freelance, gig, you allocate number of hours, and you're able to balance it. By the time you have done one client, you go and update your CV with the experience that you have, and of course, that portfolio, you are documenting it, and you're taking screenshots and all of that, of the things that you're working on, because that is what is going to feed into that portfolio, that someone like me, who is a small business owner, I would always ask for, can you send me links to things you've done before? I always ask. Most of you know Trevor. So I'm going to let's bring it home. Those of you who are in Sterling, you will know, who have been in Sterling before. Trevor, Trevor was a freelancer, and he spent 4 years with us, and he wasn't pro bono, I can tell you, right? So what was he doing? Setting up CRM automation. So it was more from a digital marketing standpoint. It was just a case of, he's been on the freelance, what do you call it, side. I looked at a few of the things that he had done, and over time he grew with us. So what he even started with, grew, expanded, and because he was now like, okay, you know what, let's take it out of that platform, and let's work together. So there is potential. It's not only being on LinkedIn, it's not only being on these job boards. And so I can imagine all the experience and skills that he's picked up across the 4 years of being with us. All of those are in he puts them in his portfolio. So if he's going to pitch to another business, those of you who know Imran, who was in Pakistan, Imran was with us for a long time. So a lot of things that Imran did with us, he put them within his portfolio, and was pitching for bigger projects. So I just want to open your minds to what is possible. So you're not limited to, oh God, I've sent 200 applications, I've gotten 150 unfortunately, or 180 or 199 unfortunately, and maybe one interview, and you sit there. That is not going to work in 2026. So apart from wanting to challenge you, I want you guys to expand your minds. So BAs, you have done business case writing before. Even if you have forgotten how you did it, go and do a refresher. Go online, go onto LinkedIn Learning again, and begin to package yourself. I want you guys to be able to say, you know, Veronica, after this call, I started pulling all the things that I've done before. So that portfolio is always what any business will ask for. There's a project that we are working on, we're going to start working on, and it's for a mobile an app. And the person who wants to build that app, that's the business owner. I said, oh yeah, we have one or two, developers that can work. And she's like, can I have their portfolio? Can I have links to sites that they've done before and stuff like that? So everything that you've done, you need to go and start thinking about it and putting that portfolio together because that is, and even on these platforms, which I'm going to show you, what by the time you set up your profile, you will need to put, at least a portfolio because that's the first thing. I won't want to pay somebody that I cannot, vet or see something that they've done before. So business case writing is one that is in demand and we'll see. So what do you need? Entrepreneurs who are carrying out feasibility studies, startup founders want to, maybe they want to pitch, they're looking for funding and they can't hire some high-end business case writer. They come to these, it's a millions of people actually access these portals, these freelance sites. So it's not just a few people, it's not a handful, because now everyone is thinking about how to save money, how to cut costs. So rather than hire somebody full time, where you're going to think about, oh, getting them pay on payroll, doing tax, all of those things cost money. So people are now going, okay, let me just get someone to do a freelance gig quickly, 1 month, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, or if they extend it, then you quickly do it, and they pay you, off you go, and then they've got what they want. So that is another one. Most of you know how to carry out feasibility studies. You've done research when you're working on a project before. That is exactly what you would need to do here. You know how to use SWOT analysis. We've talked about carrying out what do you call it, options analysis. What are the things that need to go into that document, and that's pretty much that someone might need for you to sit down and write for them. And you can do that within a week or two. Back in the days, there wasn't AI that was doing all of that, but now AI will spit it out for you before you even say jack. And then you look at it, make sure that you have, checked properly because, AI is not 100%, but at least in terms of the delivery of just getting started, there's so many AI tools that you can use. So this one is very important. Your action step now is to begin to put your thoughts together and prepare, start putting that portfolio, use AI, go online and say AI portfolio, what do you call it, development softwares or tools, and you will see examples. So those things that you have done before, put it in the AI. Even if it's just ChatGPT, say, oh, I'm going into freelancing as a business analyst or as a project manager or as a whatever you want to pitch as, because again, it's good for you to niche if you can do that. So you're known for certain, type of offers, as it were. So you put it in there and say, I am looking to develop a portfolio. Can you give me ideas of tools to use, stuff like that, and see what it says. You will definitely get response, and you look at that. And once you have identified maybe one, you start putting in all the details. Oh, I worked on this project. I did this. I did that. How do I develop a portfolio that is professional? Start putting all those prompts, and I bet you'll be shocked as how what you will get at the end of the day. And by the time you get it, before, I don't know, maybe a month, 2 months ago, I never really bothered to build a site by myself. Yes, even if it's a one, two-page site, but thanks to the new skills that I've picked up over time, I can sit down and build a one page, two-page site. And that is something that you can use as your profile, so once they click on that link, they can see what service you offer, they can see your portfolio, they can see the experience that you have. There was a VA that we hired as well. One of the reasons that I said yes was because she had a beautiful one-page portfolio. It was like a site, where meanwhile others were just sending emails with CVs and all of that. So it's just doing that extra that will make a business say yes to you, and you can use different AI tools out there. So that one is something that you need to start putting together as soon as we finish this call. Now, I put this example here. This was just yesterday, I think, or early hours of this morning. We're going to look at the sites here. So this is people per hour. You can make a list of these platforms and you check on them. We'll go on one or two now because of time. People per hour, a lot of IT tech companies go on there to hire. So even if, for example, you're thinking, oh, maybe I don't want to be a freelancer, but you can actually go and look for jobs on there. So I know that several years ago, when I was working for one software house, we the developers were that people per hour was something that was always coming up in conversations, and they hired developers, they hired different DevOps, the team, experts from people per hour. So LinkedIn is not the only place. Indeed is not the only place. There are several of these platforms which I want to challenge you to start looking. So people per hour is one. If that Zoho CRM consultancy is one thing that you want to look into, now, this call is not for you to get, oh, here you go, you start earning 500. No, there is work to be done. You will still need to do just to, brush up and make your profile look presentable. And all of that can be done in a matter of minutes these days. In a matter of minutes, you know what to do. So people per hour is one. We'll look shortly. Fiverr, I can't tell you how Fiverr has eaten my money. So a lot of times I'm like, oh, I just want something quickly. I just go into Fiverr and I say, oh, I want the turnaround time, 48 hours, 72 hours. And, you just get a lot of proposals. People are, because they have been on that platform. So you need to be set up on those platforms. It's not something that you just go and set. No, you have to set up. And a few other things I'll show you and tell you shortly. So people are per hour, sorry, Fiverr, Upwork. I already mentioned that Upwork was where we got Trevor and a few of the people that we've worked with, just short-term projects have been on Upwork. So, and these guys, it's not as if they had two heads or had two, anything, too out of the ordinary. It's just a case of you have a professional, profile set up. You have a link to things that you've done before, and then you start building. I think when we hired Trevor then, I'm not sure he had done that many projects. I can't remember what it was that I was interested in that made me say yes. And there are some who are like beginners. So don't be stuck and worried about the fact that, oh, I'm just starting, I've never done this before. There's always the first time. Is just put that one foot in front of the other and say, okay, I'm a project manager and my focus is maybe website build. And I can tell you there was a time when we wanted someone to just come in and work with some of our cohorts packed, previously to just document requirements and just to facilitate those conversations, put it together well, well put together, professional looking and all of that. We paid the person and off they went. So I can give you, I'm sure we would have hired close to 10, 12, 15 freelancers at different stages of developing this business. So you can start from the beginning. You can be a beginner. And by the time you've done a good work, your the review will be there. You always, I know when I work, when I use these guys, they say, oh, please remember how to put a review and all of that because that is what will build their profile. So that first client is what will open the doors for you. As a project manager, as a business analyst, we will see some of the examples. Now that one, it was just a screenshot that I took there. That was, I think, for project management. So risk, so your rates, Some businesses might say, we just want someone to come and help us with, developing maybe a rate register, or maybe they want someone to work on a project that is in flight, and they don't have capacity, or maybe the project managers are busy and they just want something that is just instant, quickly done. They've got it and off you go. So they're not putting you on their payroll. They're not worrying, about you being a permanent employee because it's very expensive to keep. So they just want someone. So you know how to put together a RAID log. All of you know it. You know how to identify risk. You know how to engage with stakeholders as a project manager. You know how to ask those questions. You have these tools. Some of you who were here before, we had Monday.com. We've used that before. Microsoft, there's ClickUp, there is a Microsoft Project, and there are so many of these tools out there. So, like I said, even if you haven't used Asana, you haven't used Notion before, this is the time to begin to pick them up, and they will not take you more than a few hours because you have already done some of these things before whilst on the bootcamp. Therefore, you are not starting from the scratch. So by the time you do that and you're like, okay, I'm just going to put myself as a project manager that, works on digital transformation or website build. And by the time you put all of those keywords in your profile, people like me, when I come searching on those, I just search with those keywords. Maybe I say rates management PM, and then it brings up the profile of people that have that, and then you see their what they charge. You are able to look at their maybe their portfolios. Most of them will put it there because they know that anybody who is on those freelance platforms will want to see what they've done before saying, okay, yes, I'll give you the job, and all of that. Business plans, that is something back in the days you spend months. Maybe an entrepreneur, a startup founder wants to create a business plan because they're trying to apply for funding. Some of you may have done this before. So you just need to go and dust all of those things now and start earning and start a business on the side. That, okay, if let's say you're in contract and contract ends, you just flip onto this and you're doing that, and you've got that flexibility. So I'm putting it to you that you can do it, and you've got everything that you need, especially from what you have done before. So people per hour, Fiverr, Upwork, and there is a lot more which you will see here. So let's now unpack one platform, and I'm going to tell you why it's important to kind of maintain. Maybe you start with one platform, being on one platform, and you just keep building your profile and credibility on that platform. And I think most of depending on how long you've been and how many projects you've had, the platform will kind of, boost your profile up and make you, they might just say, I don't know, they give them I don't know, award like thing, but it's just to say, the number of projects you have and more trusted, almost like they're vetting you because you've been on that platform. So I'm not saying be spread all over the place, especially when you're starting. Upwork, how does it work? One, you create a profile, and I believe that that you can start free. They would have some payment ones maybe for different things that you get, but creating a profile is the first thing. So like I said, you don't just go search and it will come up. No, you must be there. You must actually be on that because that's what those platforms actually, that's what they try to project, that everyone who is on there would have been vetted, because they will ask you if you, but it's barrier to entry is almost negligible. Is quite small. So don't worry that they might ask you for XYZ. But one, so you create a profile. The next thing, you start searching for jobs. You go on there. Once your profile is set up, you've put what you're good at. You've put your portfolio, links to some things you've done before. And don't worry now if you're like, oh, do the links have to be businesses or freelance gigs that I've done? No, your bootcamp things that you've done, that is what I'm actually that's what I'm referring to when you're starting. Now, some of you here might have done, private gigs that might be relevant to what you're trying to pitch. You can add those there. But today, for the purpose of what I'm doing, I'm talking about what you've done at the bootcamp. Those of you that did website builds, those of you that did worked on CRM automation, any of those data migration, all those things that you've done on your during that boot camp, that is the portfolio that I'm referring to, and that is what you now need to package it. Sometimes people say it's packaging. You see some of these profiles, and by the time they make it look so good, you will want to click on it. And you want to see what this person is selling because of the way that they've presented themselves. So presentation is very important. By the time you search and you see some jobs that, okay, I can do this. Quickly you bid. In some of it, I think people per hour you bid, but it's nothing big. It's nothing to be scared about. All you're just going to have to say is when somebody like me, I remember when I go and I've posted on Indeed, I've done Upwork, Fiverr, people per hour, and I just like, oh, I'm looking for blah blah blah. Then you just see people who are on there, they are sending you proposals, and they're just chatting you to say, oh, I have experience, I see your. So by the time that business has advertised or published what they're looking for, the algorithm, I think, will now kind of notify people that have those skills on within their profile, and so they will see the advert, and immediately you just once you see it, yeah, within within the portal, you've got a place where you can send direct messages to the person who's advertised for that opening. And I'm telling you because I've used these portals for years. That's how it is. So sometimes I'll be swamped, because there'll be so many. But by the time I've chatted with a few, I'm like, okay, I've selected one, two people, and then I start refusing. So within the portal, you can the person who's advertised can say, oh, I've already found somebody now. Don't send me any. You can turn it off in the settings and all of that. That's how it works. So once you search for what you're looking for, the next thing is you submit a proposal. And it's not, oh, I need to go and spend 6 months writing a proposal. No, it is just most times it's an email or sorry, a message in the portal because they like to keep everything inside there, right? I think Fiverr will say keep it in the because then there was time we wanted a long-term project and I wanted to bring it out of Fiverr. So they've got their rules which you must not you must think about. But I think some of them will allow you to take it outside of the portal once you have finalized with the freelancer. That's how we got Trevor out, and started working with us. And if you're Ashol and all of these guys, it's all on here. Okay, so you submit a proposal and it's just a short, nothing to, in fact, I think that they've got templates on this portal to say, oh, I've been a project manager, I've worked on this kind of projects, these are the skills I have, I know how to develop or to set up maybe a repository, a SharePoint site, I can set up your PMO for you. Most of you know how to do that. I can set up your templates for your project delivery templates, and you put all of those things there and you make it look good and you know that you can deliver. And again, I must tell you that some of these things you figure, like the things that you don't have, you can learn on the job. I know how many times I've had to say, Trevor, okay, when we hired him, I think it was just because he knew how to set up automations, at the back end. But there are other things that he didn't know, but he was able to learn as he was going. So there are opportunities for, don't say, oh, do I have to be the best? No, just get that one gig and I can tell you to open doors. So by the time you get that one client, and when they tell you go and do this, of course you're not going to sit down. You will search, you will look for how to do it and get it done, do it well professionally, and you get paid. And that is one client ticked off, then you're on. So you see, by the time you're successfully deliver that one, your confidence is being built. It's growing. And you're going to be like, oh, okay, I just earned 1K just like this. So just sitting down 8 hours, or even less, and I'm charging this amount. So again, this is not for people who don't want to take action, and it's not for people who don't want to dare. So if you want to just be comfortable, sit in your comfort zone and don't want to break your nails, then this isn't for you. But if you're somebody who says, I'm tired of this unfortunately, and I've been sitting down here for too long, I want to earn while I'm gaining additional experience, this is for you. And at the end of the day, you could even decide that, you know what, this is what I'm going to do for the next 1 year. and you just keep honing additional skills. And as you're doing that, you're updating your portfolio on any portal or sorry site that you've chosen. So if you want to be on People Per Hour, if you want to be on Upwork, if you want to be on Fiverr, and there are several others, okay? So that's what I'm saying here. Apart from you beginning to earn, even if you say, okay, let me just be, let me not be too greedy. I'm just using that word, but let me just start small you know, an additional £500 that you didn't think you could earn just from doing something for a few hours, that will cover food shopping for a few weeks. And it is something. And that will now mean building your CV and building additional experience. Because as client projects are completed, new technology and tools that you're using, problems that you have solved, professional references that you will get will boost your CV will boost your CV. So some of the what do you call it services again your BA on people per hour that's this is average what you would get. So maybe someone who has worked on a mobile app, like for example, I put that there particularly because this person that I was talking about is looking for that, right? And you can imagine several businesses who are like, okay, you know what, I just want someone to come on and help us with this 3 months development that we're trying to do as a business analyst. What are you doing? Business process modeling. Most of you who are on BA or who were in the BA bootcamp, you already know how to do that. Requirements, documentation and analysis, SWOTs, strengths, weakness, opportunity, threats. All of you know how to do research. There's no boot camp, whether it's Sterling, because I know there are a few names I'm seeing here that are not within the Sterling Academy. Whether you've been somewhere before, you would have done, as a business analyst, you would have done that and more. So on people per hour, that's kind of what I saw. I just put that there. And there's more. Project management or manager on people per hour as well. Gantt charts is something you do here. You do your work breakdown structure in Excel. It has the Gantt view. Someone might just say, okay, maybe the person is trying to put a pitch deck together, and it's just something they want you to quickly break down, have that work breakdown structure. Maybe they want maybe like a roadmap for that particular thing that they're trying to pitch, and they just want because they don't have time to do that. For me, I'm so busy, right, doing a lot of things. So if I get someone who's I would just pay, what to maybe just say modestly £20, $20 an hour, and the person tells me, oh, I'll do it, I'll need like 6 to 8 hours because I need it urgently. I will say, okay, and that's you earning something that you didn't think, or setting up and setting up projects. So money.com, some of you that was telling here, you would have been familiar with when we're using monday.com. So I remember then we hired, so and she wasn't cheap. We brought her on to do that initial setup with Esther and Co. She charged us well when we were using the tool because we wanted to use the tool, but we couldn't get someone is a full-time expert who will sit down and will be paying the person payroll or monthly and all of that. No, but we just wanted someone to get it set up and then we learn as we go. And there are lots of startups and small businesses like that. She just said, "Oh, this is my price. This is what I'll charge." Looked at what she had done before. We jumped on a call with her, with Esther, Helen, and a few and we said, shook hands. Okay, send us your proposal and send off and she did it for a few weeks I think, and we paid her and off she went. So I'm telling you from the other side of you know being someone who has actually gone to source for services on these platforms to tell you what is possible. And this is just scratching the surface, right? So your process documentation, workflow mapping, dashboard creation, data analysis, some of you already have that. Doing stakeholder interview, requirements gathering, business strategy and process improvement type of projects that you have done before. These are things that people are paying for. Right. And then the next one, before we go on one of these sites, to just show you a few things, requirements documentation, developers, non-tech founders, small businesses, charities that are looking for. I remember I was at an event, and a few charity founders of some charities were telling us about, oh, they want to build some different things, or and they like, oh, they can't afford to hire full-time staff. And where can they go to get someone that would just do short term? I just told them, go to Upwork, go to people per hour, and get someone who's just going to come here and document what you're trying to build. The person was like, oh, let's just get the MVP documented. And most of you know what to do as BAs or PMs. And somebody like that will pay you to just get them. What are you doing? You're going on the calls with them in their business, and you're asking those requirement, those what do you call it, questions that you would need to do as a business analyst or as a project manager. And as they are telling you, you're documenting it. You're putting it together, you're writing user stories, and we have had different people where I was like, you know what, okay, we just need someone who has maybe more experience than you guys then to come and do this for us. So you know about user stories, you know about wireframes, and different work packages that you can put together for a project, and you just build them between 300 to 800 pounds. And I'm not joking because I have hired from these places across several years. Okay, so you know that maybe a developer who has a gig, has a project, and the person is also a freelancer, but they don't like the documenting requirements. They might just need someone who, as a BA, come, to work with them on a 3 months, gig, and they're like, okay, you'll be doing the requirements documentation while they are doing the coding and all of that. You're the one sitting down to interview the stakeholders. You know what to do to write the functional requirements, to create the user stories as a business analyst, and you put all of that together. If those of you who were with us several years ago when we worked with Constructs, I think that's what they're called, that was what they needed because they were now beginning to grow and they were getting funding. But because they grew organically, a lot of their things and processes and document and stuff that they had done hadn't been documented. And so what we did was we went in with our BAs and PMs and we helped to speak to them, speak to the founder, speak to all the product managers, and documented all of that for them. And that was now their pitch deck. They put that together. So someone will pay you for that. And you know what to do. So it's just pulling all the requirements, documentation, experience, and skills that you have from these boot camps, and voila, that's something you're going to pitch and say, I will do this for you. I've done this before. This is my portfolio, and all of that. Process mapping and optimization. Companies with messy operations that do not want to hire full-time staff, they would look at that. Oh, most of you know how to do Aziz. Where's Ayomide, who was on the what's it called now? What was that project you guys worked on again? I can't quite remember the name. I think it was a CRM
Zoro
automation.
CRM.
CRM
Yeah.
automation.
Zoro CRM, yeah.
Uh-huh. Yeah, so it's doing that, documenting that, writing the requirements, the recommendation, and all that is needed, and that's a package someone will pay between 400 to 1,000 for. And you know it. And a lot of the things, even if that person they don't have the tool that you've been used to, you are going to just learn on it as you're going. But at least you understand the process, the procedure, and all of that. The tooling is something you learn as you go along, even if your tool, you just know one or two, right? You know Visio, you know Glyphy, and probably they've got other, maybe they have Lucid Chart and whatnot. And who says that you cannot even learn those things? When you see a job that has been advertised and you're like, okay, I can do one, two, three, four, but this tool I'm not used to, go quickly, go online and learn it. Once you're like, okay, I can do this and I can figure it out. I know, I mean, it's just like using Visio, and you put it on your portfolio, you put it there that yes, I will use it for you if that's what you need, especially as you're trying to get a foot in the door. 10 to 15 hours, 400 to 1,000 pounds when you're starting out. So that's what I put there for you. And then I think the final one again is templates and PMO repository setup. This was something we also paid for. Thankfully, Esther and Lydia, I think, now came and set us up when we just started, right? And that is something that a lot of you know. So some of the names there, maybe you're not familiar. Notion is one that is very popular now, is no code, is easy to get Notion set up. So as you're leaving this call, please, anything that you're seeing here that you're not used to, go and learn it. They're not technical. It's not coding. Everything is simple now. Every software developer or service provider is simplifying because they are plugging AI at the back end. So everything is just click and point and click. So these things are easy. Asana is just simple project management software. ClickUp is also is getting very popular. SharePoint, most of you have used SharePoint here. Google Workspace, those who were on selling, we migrated from Google Workspace to SharePoint. Zoho, and the list goes on. Who are the people that need it? Solopreneurs, small teams, startups, that want to have a repository set up where that was something we also did with the construct people. We helped them to set up how their documentation, that repository. So it's just easy. And again, for those of you who are on the PM project management path, this would be something because I remember Esther saying some of the jobs that she worked on, their PMO was a mess, and you will be shocked that you see all these big organizations that don't have a well-structured PMO. So we had a project, remember, Lavinia and Co did that with Lide. So all of that is just how do you set up the repository? What are the project delivery phases? And how we have stage one, stage two, stage three, stage four, stage five, the templates you created for them. I think we have on the LMS, in the LMS, I know there was a recording that Tayo did on setting up a PMO, or even if you have to go on to LinkedIn Learning and just see it. You put it on there because that is something that you can also get some quick money for, and you don't need to spend too much time. So I think this is the easiest service to start with. Because it's already easy. You would have used some of this, done this before. So quickly before we go online, I know we've gone over time. Where to sell these services? I mentioned already Upwork, Fiverr, people per hour, direct, or that you can reach out to businesses. Maybe by the time you have done a few gigs, you can go onto LinkedIn if you like, and if it's been advertised, or local businesses as you're building your portfolio. Now, this does not change your strategy or does not stop you from applying for your role. It's just something on the side that will give you opportunity. Now, bootcamp is ended. Some of you maybe are just applying for jobs, but you haven't picked up any new skill. You haven't done any addition, what you call it, learning, and you cannot do that because the market is fierce. It's changing right now. More platforms, freelancer.com. I think barrier to entry is a bit, higher there, but it's still possible. TopTal, Contra, Guru, Flex Jobs, and the list goes on. Let's quickly talk about, in case you're like, okay, how will I even put all of this together? You want to, of course, think about realistically how many hours, let's say using the CRM setup, for example. Now, before you publish your portfolio, of course, I would advise, I mean, you go and play around, get a free trial, and say, okay, if I was to set this up for a client, what would that entail? How long would it take me? You just, do that, and then you estimate the number of hours that it would take, and that's where you put there because they would ask you when you're setting up your profile. So you set your hourly rate between 40 to 60. There are some maybe beginners that are less, but again, you want to come across as credible, so you don't want to sell yourself too low. Because sometimes when I see people putting $5, I'm like, this person must be crap because I'm already making up that decision that for them to have such a low rate, so you don't want to do that to yourself. You want to be like somewhere in the middle. So you could say maybe £30 an hour, 30 to 40, and all of that. And then do the maths. By the time you multiply that, you'll be able to say, okay, this is, and they ask you, okay, what would you charge for that? You just tell them. Of course, businesses will negotiate like me. When they send me those proposals, I don't just say, oh, there you go. I will negotiate and say, okay. So you also need to think about that. By the time they negotiate, okay, what will make sense for me? So that you factor that into what your proposal is stating. And then some of these portals would charge. So once you get a gig that is confirmed, that's why they expect you to do it within the portal because there is a charge for every but I mean that's something you factor into what you're billing. So this one, some of the, I'll come back to questions in a minute, but in case you're like, I don't have a portfolio, I say start with your bootcamp projects, document them professionally with screenshots and descriptions. Then your first 2 to 3 clients, you could just for that, and then that becomes your life. And when you get a client, you put all of that together, and that's your portfolio building. And again, I also said when those of you who take this seriously and do not sit on it and go and put it to action, if you now say, okay, well, on my portfolio, I've mentioned that Eric, I did project management, CRM automation, and you want a reference from us, at least the ones we know you don't, we will give you reference for it. So that is something that we are promising, that I am making a promise to you. What if you're not an expert? Clients aren't hiring experts, they're hiring someone who knows more than them. So you don't have to have had 5, 10 years experience, but you know better than. I didn't know how to do Zoho CRM automation setup, and I just needed someone who could do it. So I didn't need someone who had been there for 15, 20 odd years, but oh, can you do this bit? That's fine. That's all I need. So you know more than 95% of small business owners, trust me, because they're busy trying to grow the business, but you at least have the hands-on practical skill and experience. Will this distract you from job hunting? Please no. So you got to do it at the same time, concurrently, like I said. You spend time, doing your normal stuff, but then you still be on these portals and you plan it. It's not as if you're just going to sit down there and be looking, but you would have set up, you put your portfolio. And again, the good thing about most of these platforms is you get notification in your email because you would have set your account up. And so you get a notification if I normally will see Fiverr ping, ping, ping. Some people that I've used before, maybe a year or 2 years after, they message me again to say, oh, do you have anything for us? They're free now and stuff like that. So you're not going to lose out if you're not sitting on the portal because you'd have set up on the settings, right? So the next question, which platform should I start with? I'm like, Upwork if you like bidding on specific jobs, and bidding is not a big deal. It's just right, and maybe a job has been published and you get a notification quickly, you go and bid amongst the first few. And bidding is just, I'm interested, I have this, here's my portfolio, blah, 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 and all of that. Again, Fiverr is another one. So what I would say is pick one and commit for 30 days and see how it goes, right? What about taxes? You are self-employed in this regard. So you need to set aside 20 to 30%, Eric, to your question of earnings. Keep receipts, file self-assessment, and simple that's it because a freelancer, at least in the UK, is a self-employed uh, person or business. And so, again, let's say you do a job, some people may not be well structured, but what you want to do is once you have done your 1, 2 client, in fact, the first client, you need to make sure that they're giving you receipts, for payment. You have all of this is a business you're setting up, so you've got to set it up well for receipts, for what do you call it? You have a template for writing proposal, you got your filing, you got your filing done because that's what HMRC would need. So you don't say, oh, here's my proposal. You finish the job and you say, oh, thank you. No, no, no. As you are bidding or pitching or sending a proposal, once they have said, okay, yes, this is the amount, you send them an invoice. So knowing how to do all of that is super important that you do. So because that's what you now use for your self-assessment in the UK. So to answer that question, that's pretty much. For those of you who might need to jump up, that's fine. But I wanted to tell you now, if you stick around, I want to share some details. And the reason I decided to talk about this within Sterling is I just thought, well, maybe there are people here that might actually be already entrepreneurial, might have some things that they're doing, and this might be useful because Sterling is expanding, and you guys will hear more about it in the coming months or so. So yes, we've done the bootcamp, BA, PM, privacy for 8 years now. Wow, 8 years this year. But we are now looking to expand because the everything is changing and we cannot remain the same way we were several years ago. And therefore, we are now offering what we call done for you services. And now this is for entrepreneurs or, small micro businesses who want to know how to monetize their skills. Now, the reason that I'm telling you about it is because some of you might be interested. How did this come about? Several last year, I think, I went and I delivered this workshop in the Coventry Council House, and there was a lot of interest, especially from people who had hobbies, had stay-at-home moms who didn't want to go to the office to do the corporate, but some of them knew how to bake, some were designers, some were interior decor specialists, some knew how to knit, and I just told them, and I went and I delivered there where you can monetize that using AI, in the sense that you developed some products where you can now sell. So I'm not talking about selling, knitting and selling. No, you are now teaching people who want to learn how to knit, but you do that in a digital product format. What is that? You're recording a video and saying, this is how you put your needle, blah, blah, blah. And now AI is even helping to make that quicker. And then you package that as a product where somebody buys. So that, and there are different ways, right, of how you can monetize. So I did that, and most of them came back saying, oh, so it was more like a free workshop I did for a day. But a lot of them were like, oh, if we were to work with you, to some of them are into the wellness space, and they have amazing skills, but they just didn't know what to do with it anymore. So I have this coming up on the 14th and 15th. Some of them have already signed up. And what I'm showing them is, okay, how do you even start your market research? So if you are actually even thinking that, oh, maybe I might think about this seriously as a business, but how do I even know where to start? How do I know who to target? So I show them with AI, and I'm telling you because I have done this. Some of you would have seen I have maybe 5, 6 digital products out there. I show them how to conduct market research using different AI tools, which I'm not going to give you out. I'm not going to tell you today because of time and all of that. But how do you conduct market research? So maybe you have some experience and you're like, how do I know that people will buy this thing? Right. So we start with that, and then we kind of narrow it down and we identify a niche for them. Then they say, okay, maybe for example, I have been a trainer for 10, 15 years and I want to be able to monetize that. And it might just be, okay, learning how to set up a training portfolio, sorry, a training portal or course, like like where you have those LMS and stuff like that. That might be some. That's one of them actually. That's what she's coming on to learn how to do. And by the time they put that in, they record that, and I teach them how to create it on the call. So it's an 8 hour long workshop across the weekend. And I'll teach them, okay, we've done the market research, we've identified the niche, we have said this is the offer, this is what you're selling, right? And then we produce it, we create the videos. There's different AI tools that will do that for you within a matter of minutes. And they finish, and then we show them how to sell it on different portals. So there is Teachable, there is so many that I've used over time. So I teach them that by 15th of February, end of day, they are live. That thing that they have decided to sell or to monetize is live, and they're already selling it. So that was something that I did in a workshop, and now we're actually going real live. Then the final thing is we also help them to develop a website, more like a 1 page, 2 page, in fact, 1 page long website that is like your portfolio to say, okay, this is what I'm doing, this is my service, this is how you can get it. Just pay here and you click and all of that. They also get that. So that is what we're calling our done for you service. Anybody who's entrepreneurial and who thinks, I've been thinking about this whole digital product thing, I've seen it a lot. If that's something that you're interested in, that is something we can talk about. Then the second one, which is something that we are also introducing, which is, the reason why I'm doing this is we're also expanding into something else. You finish your boot camp whilst you're waiting to get a job. how can you become a freelancer? So that's another weekend intensive that is something we're going to be doing. And in the future, it will be an offer for maybe people who come onto bootcamp, finish, and then if you feel like, okay, you know what, I want to monetize, I want to learn how to be a freelancer, that is an additional thing that you can pivot into. So that is an expansion. So we create your portfolio with you, we build your one-page site with you, we'll set you up on the freelance page and whatever it is that you have decided. Of course, working with you. All I just went through because it's just a 1 hour free one, but then it's 8 hours. And we're working with you from how do you set up your profile, how do you do your market research, or how do you identify what it is that you should be going for? How do you even develop that portfolio and that one-page site, all of that across 8 hours. So those are two things that I wanted to tell you guys about. So I will pause now before we go on to the final. And just to let you know, in case you're asking, it is not for free, right? But it is something that is valuable. But let's take questions. And if anybody has any questions, uh, feel free to ask because we're almost going. Posts the experience on LinkedIn, yes. How does one put a portfolio together? So have I answered that? Okay, Taiwo, to monetize my skills and increase my experience. How to get a freelance gig for additional income. Is it better to go into freelancing as a limit? No, I wouldn't go down that route of limited company just yet as you're starting because by the time you have registered a company, at least in the UK, company's house will now start sending you, all that tax and stuff that you really, I would say just go solopreneur, just go to start. Yeah, just go, just start. But again, by the time you grow, you can now start thinking that, okay, maybe because I want some credibility so that when they go and look for me on Company's House, they can find my company name and all of that. But for starters, I would say maybe don't register a company just yet. Um, dancing actress. So the knowledge will be very, yeah. So exactly. So can I take any questions? Eric, to your question, that HMRC question, does that answer what I've said about just making sure you get receipts and all of that, and you do your self-assessment because you are self-employed as a freelancer?
Yes, I think that's okay. I wanted to also ask you about the cost of the bootcamp. This
Yeah.
new
So the first one, where is it now? Anybody here tell me which of these two would you be interested in? So the bootcamp to freelancer, is that the one you're after, Eric? Or is it the
yes, the freelancer, yeah, weekend, yeah.
freelancer one? Okay. Does anybody here want to does one okay. Two. Okay, freelancer two. Okay, so two of you. So let me show you. It's nothing. It's just because I'm starting it, right? So maybe the next cohort will probably be paying something else. Okay, so February 28th is when it will be because I have the other business one where there are small businesses that want to know how to monetize and all of that. So maybe you have a small business, maybe you have an idea, maybe you have something that you have as a skill, as a hobby that you've never even thought of that you can monetize. There are some people now that one of them is that she's into the wellness. So what we would do is eventually turn her product into an app. So she's going to have like meal plans where people can check, and I think a few checklists that she has, and that we will convert into an app for her. And then she starts selling that, going forward. So it could be different, anything that you think you have that can be digitized is something that would have. But for the bootcamp to freelancer is February 28th and 1st of March. 8 hours, so 4 hours, 4 hours, and then you've got 7 days support and accountability circle on WhatsApp. You can see the price 2978 is nothing. You can pay with Klarna if you want to split it because the next time we're doing this is going to be more. Someone was like, why are you charging so low? I said, well, it is just to start to encourage people to show what is possible. So let me tell you what that is going to, how that's going to work. we will, with you, set up, show you on the call, you would set up your account. We'll look at based on what it is. And again, we'll do a bit of research as to so that you can niche down and identify what area to really go for. So it's not just everything, whether you're a project manager with a, particular focus area. So we would do a bit of research during this that's why it's 8 hours. We'll do that. And once we have said, okay, this is who you are, this is what you're pitching and projecting as, we set up your account with you. So it's not a case of we'll sit down and we're doing it together. So it's called done with you, not done for you. Done for you will be more than that, but done with you. So you have your service package and pricing all done professionally. I'll show you how to use AI, to get it all done. And you are on Upwork or Fiverr or any other portal. Your proposals, we will have that ready to send by Monday because it's a weekend intensive. I don't want the one where we're just there for days and weeks and whatnot, but something that you can quickly get out and you're on the platform, and by Monday you are able to send out your proposal. So your portfolio, we will build that together. I'll show you how to do that, how you get your templates and your pricing calculator. It's all there. We'll also do a one-page portfolio site that showcases your work. So you can see that this price is nothing compared to what you're going to get. So that is something that I will work with you. And then the thing is, by the time we're working together to get that set up, I'm also going to show you some insider secrets so that you can actually go and start selling this service on your own. Just say, okay, you know what? Let me even start with a what's it called? I know, and I'm going to show you some tools that you can use, some cheat codes to create sites. And who says that there are businesses that are looking for someone to say, oh, I just want to a landing page. Trevor, when I first hired him, that's all I got. That was what I wanted, apart from the automation, which he did later. I just wanted someone to build a sales page for me in Zoho. So part of what we will teach you is a simple site using different tools, as it were, and within a matter of minutes, you'll be shocked. It'll be there. So there's all of that you're going to get, and you can decide to say, okay, this thing that Veronica is doing, I'm going to also start pitching and selling it somewhere. So that is where the world is going. The world is moving from just, appreciating what you call them, consumers. So you can't just sit down to consume because you need to start creating, you need to start putting something out there as well. And that's why I decided to do this to challenge you to say this is possible. It is not textbook, it's not something I saw online, but lived experience, one from a growing business, needing freelancers, and how much I have spent on freelance gigs, on getting people, right? So there is high demand. That's one. Then the second bit is what it's going to do for your experience, which will now be on your CV, which will help boost your confidence as well. So it's a win-win situation, and it does not stop your job search. You still try to get that job so that you have multiple streams. I can't tell you how many streams of income I have right now. And over the past how many months, I have just branched into different things because one job is not enough. So that's the year that we are in and beyond. It's going to be multiple streams. So you can say, oh, I'm good at this thing, actually. I can pitch it as a service. By the time you get your one client, these people who I'm training on the 14th and 15th, and if you want to join, you can. I it was just a free that the workshop I did at the council house. That's where they were like, oh wow. And I was teaching something on business model canvas for small businesses and charities. Trust me, I only learned these things just, I'm like, okay, how do you pick this up with AI? So guys, please don't sit down and remain on what you've known since boot camp. You've got to say, what else can I pick up? What's in demand? You can even use AI. Go to Claude, use Gemini, use ChatGPT, and say, I'm thinking about multiple streams of income. This is my skill here. So those of you who are going to come on, I will show you how to do all of those things. You know, how to use the prompts that will give you ideas and to give you a marketing strategy so you can say, oh, I want a marketing strategy for the next 3 months as a freelancer, and you will see it come there. And then I'll also tell you, how do you start marketing? How do you promote? Where do you promote so that you now start getting people? So when I decided I was going to do this, I just reached out to these people who had attended those free workshops, and they were like, "Oh, I'm in, I'm in, I'm in. Here, send me the link, send me the link." So by the time you get one person, it helps your confidence, and then you're like, "Oh, I can do this." And then the person goes and tells other people, and that's you in business. So you can get into business, and you'll be doing so well that you will not be bothered about all the unfortunately emails that you're getting because you're enjoying your freelancing gig. You're getting paid and you're getting experience and you're building your confidence. So it's a win-win. And that's kind of what I wanted to share with you guys. So that's the early bird. Yeah, again, that ends on Friday. That's the amount there. Anybody who wants that, you can DM me because I can only take 8 people. The reason is it's going to be very intensive. So I'm doing it with you. I'm not coaching, I'm not just teaching you running through slides like today, but we are actually building together, building your portfolio, building your site, setting you up. So it's a lot of work that we're doing. And we can't take too many people because I want to be able to, everybody that is on will go away set up on a freelance site. Their one-page portfolio will be done, and all the things that they need to start business by Monday will be done. So I can't take more than 8 people. So if you want to join 1 or 2, you need to message me and then we'll send you the details. So this is not the year for sitting down and consuming freebies. It's not going to go anywhere because you want to make sure that you have a stake in the game. Because when you do, chances of you taking it seriously and taking action will be higher than when it's something you didn't pay for. Or it's just free. I'm like, oh, I'll think about it in 6 months or in a year time or whatnot. So it's not free, unfortunately. And it is a lot of time and value that you get. Okay. So the link will and this recording will share it. Those of you who can message me, go on. I think Tony and Eric said you're interested. And if there's anybody else, go ahead. Um, yeah, so if there's any more questions, you can send it or put it in the chat. So February the 7th, which is Friday, is when the offer ends. And then we start, those who are doing the monetize your skills using digital products is on the 14th, which is not long from now. And then those who want to do bootcamp to freelance, that is 28th of March and the 28th of February and 1st of March. But if you want to take the advantage now, you've got to sign up between now and Friday. And that's it. So again, if you think that, okay, I'm not ready, I don't want to commit, at least all the information that you've had today, go and put it to work on your own. Go research, do Google search, use ChatGPT, use any of the tools and find out. You've seen this list. I'm not going to give you the slide, but you'll get the recording so you can remember the names. Or even when you go on to Google search, it will tell you there are several others. Go on there. You can figure it out on your own. You don't need if you feel like you can't make the investment now, it's still fine. But at least it's some information. So I said this to say, don't sit down and moan about the unfortunately emails that you have been receiving. Do something about it. Do something about it. It's been frustrating. You're tired of it. You don't want it anymore, but do something about it. So apart from setting up something that could grow into a business, you never know. Another thing is you're gaining additional experience. So maybe those of you who have been like, oh, I'm worried because my CV doesn't have a lot of experience. This is an opportunity for you to do that. And then it goes on your CV and you keep updating that and you keep applying. So you are not stopping your application, you're just getting something more. Being paid and getting additional experience. So I'll leave you with that to go and reflect on. And I hope this has been useful. I hope some of you will go away and think about it and take action. Don't sit on it. This year is not the year to sit on things. Take action. Okay? All right. And this is where I end because I'm jumping on another call. So yeah, anyone who wants to take up on anything, just let me know. You know how to reach out. So have a good rest of the weekend and all the best.